Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the first edition of Clubhouse Chat. Aaron Whitefield, how are you?
Good. How are we doing, guys?
Yeah,
well.
I'm going well, and I've got Mark Woods to my left. How are you, Woodsy?
I'm doing all right. Ready to talk baseball and everything in between.
Great. We had an off-air chat about what we might call this podcast, had a few options available, sought some advice from Mick Wern, big part of the Aces organisation out at the ballpark. Couldn't help us, so we've gone directly to you, Aaron, and we've come up with the Clubhouse Chat as the name. What do we think, guys?
It sounds good. Definitely a baseball feel to it.
Yeah, I think it's what it's about, and get all the boys in and hopefully talk all the good stuff about the clubhouse as well and what's going on out there at Altona.
Love it, and I love that if anyone has issues with the name, it's your fault.
Yeah, I'll blame Rog. So I'll tell him Rog told me to do it.
Love it.
Love you, Rog.
Shout out to Rog. Anyone who follows the Aces would know who Rog is and how great he is for the org. We'll come back to Rog. We'll talk about him. But I want to do a bit of an intro for you. 2015 to 2023, 584 minor league games. It's a lot of games.
Yeah.
And you're only 27 years old. 8 big league games with 2 clubs. Obviously, debuted with Minnesota, went on to play for the best team in the league, my mighty Angels.
Debatable.
And, some massive Australia tournaments with the men's team, including the 2023 World Baseball Classic that we'll come back and talk about a little bit later. But now you're coming into season 3 with the Aces. Welcome. Tell us about what you're up to and what's been happening since the Aces season concluded.
It's been probably one of the craziest times that I've had. Not used to just, usually in the last 9 years has been finishing the ABL, going to spring training, playing a season, coming back, doing ABL. And this year, with visa problems, I haven't been able to get back, still waiting on the visa. So I went up to Queensland for some warm weather, but then realised just there's no really winter baseball to kind of stay ready for when my visa came. And so I decided, with signing another technically 3, but 4 years still with the Aces, I decided I'll come back here and then, try help out with some junior stuff as well as play winter ball out at Monty and just kind of stay ready.
Yeah, fantastic. You mentioned as we were walking in too, you're doing some stuff with the juniors and you've found that a really great opportunity to sort of get into the grassroots baseball here in Victoria and also do a little bit of work with the some of the women's players, the Donny girls. What's it been like seeing the growth from a women's game perspective?
Yeah, I think it's, I've seen it with all the showcases that go on. Even the girls playing out at Lismore, and just seeing, their game grow as well, but just thinking like how much it could keep growing, as well as, with the mix of what I'm trying to help with the juniors here and kind of push, I feel like we're quite a bit behind the States, especially in the juniors, coming from like the 10s to 12s. And I don't think it's necessarily the coaches in that fault, because a lot of the coaches are the dads who are trying to help out. But, saying that some of these dads have never played before and they don't have anyone teaching them, it's just kind of them putting their hand up, which is good because, that's how they keep the juniors going. But just trying to help those kids and get, the dads who always come, most of the coaches, so I get them to kind of watch in and listen and take back to their clubs and just trying to, build that so that when those juniors are 10 to 15, like between the age of 10 and 15, they're building in the right way to become, the next Bizana and just trying to help out what I've learned in the States and over my time to try and push that, because the game's changed and it's just like anything, it'll keep evolving. And, last year was the last time I was over in the States, so it's pretty fresh still, and just trying to push on what the game's changing to and making sure that we're kind of adapted to it on the men's and women's side. And, I've had a blast. I think it's been really good. All my groups that I've had, it's been kind of packed, but it's been good because I enjoy seeing the kids enjoy it. And for me, honestly, it's helped me become a better player too, teaching and being able to adjust and make adjustments myself, but easier ways from learning from other kids and how they do it. And kids are pretty good at the imagination side. the women have a lot more questions than probably most of the men do when saying like, well, what do we do here? But like, I've had a blast with them and just showing them like, I think with a lot of it in Australia, we don't like to fail because, you know, it's a failing sport. But in every other sport in Australia we play, you don't really fail. So like getting the kids, like, it's okay to strike out. Like it used to be, I know when playing softball when I was growing up, that you struck out, it was like the worst thing possible. Well, like, it's not. You're going to strike out. Like, sorry, but it's going to happen. But learning why you did and not getting defensive the next at bat because of that. So I think just trying to change that and push it so that we just keep growing as a country and we get more Bazanas or first rounders and as we go forward.
Really cool insight, because it's been awesome following Trav's journey. Obviously, he's the number one pick last week, but then hearing from someone who's played in the bigs, coming back to Grassroots, who's sharing your knowledge and your experience, not only with the players, but I think with the coaches, because of course they play such an integral role. So tip my cap to you for that. That's awesome. We are going to start this chat though. We've got a few things to get through, but we're going to start this chat with the Better Whitefield.
Yeah.
And that is Tamika.
Yep.
Your amazing sister. And I was so lucky I got to work with Meeks as part of the Aussie Spirit team when I was at softball. And I've seen her develop and grow over a long period of time. Of course, debuted 2018 for the Aussie Spirit at home here in Australia, and then's gone on to play in a number of different tournaments and be involved in the program. She's become a staple now, and she was announced just recently before the World Cup that just took place as one of the 2 vice captains there with her good mate Tay Tits. What's it been like following her journey, and is there still competition?
Oh, 100%. I think that's why we had to move states to get out of the house. So it's getting too hot in there. But no, it's awesome to see Meeks do her thing. You know, I think she's had her own battles in her career, you know, missing out on the Olympics and staying to like the last cuts during the COVID and stuff like that. But, you know, for her to be announced as a vice captain, I think is a huge deal. Moving to Perth so she could play men's softball is like the only state that would let her play in the men's competition, and to go over and get better training just shows like how dedicated she is to move. You know, not much going on in Perth. Sorry, all the Heater fans, but you know, it's just for her to do that and grow, and I think get the vice captain is kind of a reward for the hard work she puts in. I mean, we still battle ourselves, but you know, being with like my schedule too and hers, like we don't get to talk much, but it's also like when we do, it's like we never stop talking. So I think because we were so competitive growing up too, like it's just part of it. But you know, I usually talk to her more when she has tournaments like just gone, and I'll just, because you know, family will be like, oh, like you're doing well, and she's sucking. I'm like, no, you stop sucking. And then she'll say the same thing. She'll be like, do you always suck this much? Or so it's good to get the feedback and then help out if she needs something, or what I see, I'll tell her, and if she knows how to make adjustments in that herself, and just to see her keep growing. And you know, she's looking at playing overseas now too, which is something it wasn't really intriguing for her earlier. She just finished uni, becoming a teacher. So I think now that that's done, she's going to go, you know, travel. She's 25 and kind of just starting her journey on it and as well. So it's exciting that it's kind of a start for her as well, and to see how it keeps going.
Awesome. I must say I was in the Aussie Spirit camp when she didn't make that Olympic team, and I knew before this, but I knew by the way she responded to that and how she coped with all of those things and understood that, you know, there was a real opportunity for her moving forward, but it just wasn't the right time. Amazing. Like, and I knew from then that there were massive things to come for her. So no doubt 2028, I know she'll be knocking on the door, and that must be pretty exciting. I've read a couple of articles talking about the brother-sister playing in LA. Like, have you thought about that at all?
Oh,
or?
Yeah. Because, you know, for us too, our mum had us when we were super young, and she was like a national player, or could have been too. She still plays top level stuff. So I think having me at 18 and then Meeks 2 years later kind of halted what could have been, you know, her career too. So I think for us it's kind of a not like a thank you in our own way, but like for her to get us to see us both play at Olympic Games, I think would be, really cool. And then if I can hang on, if the body hangs on, we got 2032 in Brisbane. So we have a younger brother too, and hopefully he makes the more transition to baseball. And there's quite a few years till then, so who knows what could happen. And all three of us worked out to try and maybe I might be coaching by then, but I'll be pushing to keep playing. And I think that would be, to me, that would be like the best farewell kind of tour if I could play the Olympics in my hometown.
I mentioned earlier 35th Aussie to play Major League Baseball. Of course, played for 2 big league organisations, a few different minor league independent orgs. But you spent some time with a club that is arguably the club with the best name in baseball, maybe even sport, the Trash Pandas. Tell us about that period for you.
Oh, probably, honestly, and I've had some really great years in the minor leagues, great towns, great people, great organisations. The probably year and a half that I got to spend with the Trash Pandas was probably some of my favourite times. Obviously getting called up from there, and I think being one of the first, maybe the first person from the Trash Pandas called straight to the big leagues, was pretty incredible too. I had great coaching staff. The front office, my girlfriend Tori, she lived with me there. She got along with all the people in the front office. It was like just a big family, and like still try and talk to them now. It's somewhere I'd probably go visit at some stages, even after baseball, because it's just such a great atmosphere, great people. We got family friends that live in the town too. So it was honestly some of the best times. The teammates were good, like great teammates that I've still keep in contact with. So the merch is really cool. We got discount on that. So half of our dog toys that we got and blankets for the dogs and shirts and is all Trash Pandas. And all our friends would be like, hey, can you bring some stuff back? So they did a really good job there. Even the families that support it and, come out to every game, the fans that come out to every game. It's just a great place to play, great atmosphere. I think they're doing. Last time I checked, they were doing pretty well this year too. So, it's a good time. Maybe play there again one more time.
Now let's get into some of your, game day stuff, I guess one of the most important factors of baseballers when they're going up to bat is hearing an appropriate song. So just talk us through your process. Do you pick one at the start of the season and stick with it, or do you have a few that you're going to maybe choose if you're not in a...
Yeah, it's probably I pick a few. I mean, I'll have one that rides out for a while, but I'm kind of, something for me, when you go watch games, even when I wasn't playing at the level I was, or even going to other games, hearing people kind of jam out to your song, that's something for me. So you also got to know where you are. If you're in a country town and you start playing some rap music, it's probably not going to go. So I'll talk. My girlfriend, she'll throw because she's big country music. So when I was in Alabama, we went country, and she loves country songs. So she would throw me out, and I had a really good one there too. And then this year, I love Jack Harlow, so I rolled with Jack Harlow, popular song. So it's just kind of what I'm feeling. And then obviously if I'm doing well, it'll stay. If I'm doing bad, might be time to move on. But yeah, it's just how I feel at the time, what's kind of jamming, what I think people want to jam to, or just, for me, it's when you go out to bat, you kind of want people locking in on the game or something like that. So if you get a good song, then they might be talk and then hear the song and be like, oh yeah, here we go, back to the game.
Yeah, so there's a few interesting ones out there. What are the more weird ones that you've actually come across?
I'm trying to think. Robbie's Barbie Girl.
Talk us through this, because this was a certain incident that happened just the past season. I might have been involved with it in some respect.
I think it was you that did it.
So
or Rog.
talk us through talk us through the whole situation.
So, old RG6, as he goes by, wasn't feeling his best. And it was a Sunday game, and we kind of got, it was a rain delay. We're playing Sydney. Yep. And so we just sit in the locker room. And then Mitchie Edwards, who lived with us as well, was like, what do you reckon? Like, should we mess around with Robbie a little bit? And I was kind of at the start like, nah. And then I'm like, it won't hurt. I was like, you know what? He'll probably hit a homer and then he'll just go on a tear. So we're like, messing with it. And then, so we decided we're going to do it. And then obviously Rog does everything for us. So we walk up to Rog, and Rog was not about it. He knows what Robbie's like, and he's like, no, I can't do it. So then I went to Surly. So, and it was honestly like going through the CIA, Homeland Security, and then finally getting to the president to tick it off. And so we get it ticked off, and everyone's like, we didn't tell anyone that we're going to do it, but we're just like, just be ready. And they're like, what do you mean? Because everyone knows RG6 can, get a little heated sometimes in the moment. So anyway, he walks up, and it starts a little later, and everyone starts laughing. The Blue Sox start laughing, and he has like a little grin. And then the at-bat goes on, and, if he hits a homer, we would have been heroes. Might have got like a medal and everything, but, he struck out and wasn't his best. And he comes in kind of calm at the start, and then he was wondering who did it. And then, me, I said to Rog that I put my hand up if he started getting mad. And I blamed Rog straight away. I went all in on it. And then good Rog didn't snitch on me, so it's good to know. And then he gave me up, and Robbie and I will speak pretty much every day. And we have a group chat with me, him and Meaty, and we speak whether it's about NFL, about random stuff. And then for a week, from when that series of Sunday till the following Friday, I think we were in Perth, we didn't speak at all. His wife, my girlfriend, like, hey, you guys just say sorry. And we're like, no, it's too stubborn, like 12-year-olds. I'm not saying sorry to him. Didn't do anything. So, and then from then we always laugh. And so honestly, I hope he puts Barbie Girls this walkout to start the year. It's going to be electric.
Keep an eye out for that, Aces fans. So you're talking about your current walk-up song. Just talk us through what it is and why you chose that one for the last season.
It's Lovin' On Me by Jack Harlow. I was kind of bumping to it on the way to the field. I want to say, because I missed the first week of the Aces with the under-25s tournament. So I think it was my first training session back in Australia. It was just like the rare summer day you get in Melbourne where the sun was out, and just jamming to it on the way to the field. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to roll with this. Because before that, I think I was going to go with like a Drake song. And then, I don't know, it like came to me listening on the way to the field. Usually I'm like one of those guys that's like the annoying car you drive past. It's like got the music pumped so loud that you can't hear anything else. And so that was what was going on the way to the field. And, start off a little slow, but then finish off pretty well, and just rode with it the whole time. So tried to not blame the walkout song, and decided if something was going wrong, just blame the guy doing it. So...
I've got a question more so about playing, and this one's of real interest to me. I spent my career pitching, still trying to do it. Is there a better feeling as a hitter than knowing you've hit a ball over? And I know hitting balls over is not necessarily what you're most famous for, but talk me through the feeling of when you know you've jacked it and it's gone. What's that like?
It's honestly like you don't hit it. Like the feel, like on the bat, like you don't feel it come off the bat. In Altona, it's a bit different because you got the wind howling in from left. So you got to you think you get it, and then you got to pray a little bit and then hope. But for me, hitting wise, I think one of the best feelings too is hitting just at an absolute chest high line drive up the middle, because everything went how it was supposed to. And, usually for those ones is where the rare times you see the ball hit the bat and it just shoots straight back and no one can do anything. And, to me, that's kind of just as fulfilling as obviously if you just whack one like Birdie does 100 feet over the fence, you don't have to worry about it. Unfortunately, I don't have that sort of power. But, I think that one up the middle. And for me, I love stealing bases and trying to cause havoc, so I get to do that too. If I hit a homer, I don't get to do one of my favourite things. So
it's funny you mentioned that. I was going to actually bring that up and say that as a baseball fan who loves watching the game, for me, I feel like you love just finding a way to get on, whether it's a base hit, that line drive you talked about, a walk, even a hit pitch ball, whatever it is, or you run out a ground ball to the infield, and then knowing you're like, I'm going to take second here. Yeah. Like, is that like so cool knowing that you've got the wheels? Because, and again, like I've never been able to run and I've never really got to first a lot either. So I don't know that feeling, but what's it like knowing you get to first any way you can and then you're probably going to swipe two? Like, is that something that you love as part of your game?
Yeah, it's definitely like a bit of an arrogance thing. Like to me, it's kind of like a check into work once I get to first. Obviously stealing first is one of the hardest things you got to do. But not only stealing it, playing around so that, if you're going to mess around with me, you're probably going to mess up for whoever's hitting behind me. So playing around with that, I think last year and in the ABL, I've been a bit more reckless than I think usually. Like in the States, I'm probably a lot more successful, and that probably goes on. You have video, you have all this, and I don't take much notice into it. And then the other thing is too, like all the teams know, when you get an import, you kind of don't know who they are till like week 4 or 5, or what they're going to do. But like all the managers know, all the catchers, like, Whitey's going to go sooner or later. The pitchers are just going to, I'll hold them on for as long as I can. So that makes it more of like a chess game too for me, which makes it fun. But yeah, for me, it's like going first to third on something that like you shouldn't, or like scoring from second on like a infield single. Like that's like the stuff that is for me that I can help out. And especially like last year, I think we lost 7 or 8 one-run games, and a lot of it was because of base running in all aspects. Myself, other guys, and just not being ready to take that base and trying to take it, or just like, and for me, it's just not being aggressive at the start. So like the ABL's a short season. Over a long time, we'll probably win a lot more games than other teams just because of how stacked we are. But when you have a short amount, a lot of factors play into it. You only get to play on the weekend. If you don't turn it on for that one weekend, it can turn south real quick. So I think that base running is something that I've learned can change the aspect of games completely. And I honestly think that was a big part of last year for us, not going the whole way.
Very informative. In terms of preparation for games, and maybe even when you're on first base, have you got any superstitions like you have to do, otherwise you're not feeling yourself?
Yeah, I think so. One I know I definitely do is the socks that have like the left and right, which most socks do, like on the thing. I have to have it that way. Yep. I feel like, like if I get 2 rights, I won't wear them. I'll ask for new socks because I need left and right. I just feel like my right foot's on my left leg, and it's just so. I feel like that is like I always do 3 or more run throughs before the game, and I don't know if it's just a superstition thing or just to kind of get my body going and make sure that like I don't hurt myself. I feel like 3 is the minimum, and whatever more I need, I'll do. I'm trying to think.
Do you think Annie Wern's adjustment to your pants had an impact on your at-bats? Or?
She's a superstar because I wouldn't say she battled with me as much because I'd tell her when I wasn't wearing the pants I was supposed to. And you just see the look. It was just like a mama that just wasn't happy with you. But like, she's like, I love you, but like, don't. And then it got to the point where she's like, quit it. I was like, all right. So, but no, she worked with us and got my pants. I think she hated how much, with being a runner, it feels like I go through a pair of pants every week or every day. And she'd be like, didn't we just fix these pants? I'm like, yeah, a couple slides. So I'll say, blame Werney, he did the field if it's too hard. It's but no, it was just like, I want to say, I tap my feet before I go up to the plate. That's probably a big one too. I do it in club ball. I do it pretty much everywhere. I don't know if it's my kind of like breath before I go up there, but I'll tap my toes as I go up and fix my gloves. That's probably the most like superstitious thing.
Yeah, you have to do the same thing every time you go up to bat?
Yeah, and I think it's just more of like a relax, like no matter the situation or something like that, just before I get into the box, it's kind of like a reset. like I'll have my plan walking up there, you know, depending on the situation, and then once I like get right behind the umpire, I do like my tap, and then that's kind of like, all right, well, you know what you're doing now, just go hit.
This is your third season now with the Melbourne Aces. With the ABL season having to travel interstate every few weeks or every second week, do you have a regular roommate or a preferred roommate or one that you don't want to stick with? And why is that?
Careful how you answer this.
Yeah, so, I mean, he knows. I have Robbie every road trip. I live with Robbie since we both came. He came from Perth. I came from Adelaide. And we've been roommates on Aussie trips or roommates. You know, pretty much when we're together, we're attached at the hip. I don't know if it's because everyone sticks him with me, or you know, he is my best mate, but you know, someone wants to take him every now and then. I think vice versa. But no, we just, you know, being apart for 6 months, it's kind of our catch-up time, and we've just known each other for the past 5 years of rooming together too. So every Aussie trip, sleeping right next to each other. So we kind of know each other's habits, what we do. We wake up at the same time. We go get food together. So, except the Barbie girl time. Then it wasn't like
that 1 week you didn't get the daily phone call?
Very peaceful week. So.
Now, looking at, I mean, these photos here of you in a Melbourne jersey, I've got to ask, which is your favourite Melbourne Aces jersey?
The red one.
The red one?
Yeah. We don't wear it much. I like the blue. White's good because we're home. But yeah, the red one.
Yeah.
So just because I think it's different. Red goes fast. I like red. So as you can see on the screen, me and my roommate next to each other. Always find it. So,
We've got to get Robbie on here, so shout out to Robbie. And
Make sure he tells his side of the story.
He did FaceTime before we came on air, so I think we're going to need to get him in for sure.
Him and Roger, I reckon, together.
Oh, that's a great duo. Absolutely. I'm keen to sort of move into a little bit of, I suppose, gathering some insight, because as a baseball fan, and I'm sure many people listening would have followed the World Baseball Classic last year. Team Australia finished second in the pool that they were in, and that was behind the eventual champions, Japan. You beat China, Czech Republic, South Korea, and you eventually went down in the knockout stages 4-3 in a nail-biter to Cuba. You were playing Tokyo Dome, 35,000 people. What was the experience like just in general? But how close were we to getting, you know, to the pointy end? And I suppose we were sort of at the pointy end, but we were super close. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think this was... So we've kind of been, I wouldn't say rebuilding, but, you know, changing the kind of mindset ourselves and not kind of feeling bad, or, you know, feeling like, oh, you know, half our players got to do full-time jobs while other guys get paid thousands, you know. That was always the mindset. So it's kind of like an excuse. If we didn't win, that's why. And just taking it like, hey, we're here, let's go play, like, beat them. And just taking that mindset, and we play a very scrappy brand, but like that's us. And I think sometimes we could try and get away from it, and you know, try out homer Japan or out pitch Japan, and like just, you know, trying to strike guys out and get away from what, you know, pitch, throw strikes, play good defense, and manufacture some runs, however it was. And I think every tournament we've been to the last 3 years has just shown that, you know, we just keep getting better at those stages. And, you know, those games, as you said, like the Cuba one, 4-3, and at any time of that game, it could have changed and gone our way, or, you know, we could have, you know, I think scoring runs in that side, if you score 5 or more runs, like, you're pretty much going to win. And we were always kind of around that, you know, three plus runs, and against teams like Japan itself, you know, it's pretty impressive to do. And I think that it's just, you know, it sucks because in our eyes, like, everyone's like, oh, you guys did great, but, like, you know, we wanted to go to the finals and we thought we could, like, we should have. And so it was honestly it was an achievement, but it was also like a disappointment. So it was just in the aspect of, like, we don't go there just to make this second round. So it's just like, and that's what I love about the team. Like we took it, we celebrated after what we did, but also at the time, like we were disappointed, and that's what you want to see in the team. Like not just like, oh, hey, like we're glad to be here. Like, hey, that sucked. Like if you look at the locker room afterwards, it wasn't like, oh yeah, like we're glad we made it this far. It was like disappointed that we lost. And that's something that was, I think, a different feel over when I first made the men's team a while back now, 2016, I think, with Deebs. And it's nothing against that. It was just a different, mindset and younger, hungry players coming through now and just wanting, like, they don't care how much show time. They don't care that show's playing or, how much money the other team. So I'll go out there and I'll beat you. Just kind of like the Aussie mindset and taking that. And I think that's a big thing I look forward to this next Premier 12, showing off and just kind of adding each time, just getting better and better and showing Australians that, like, we are, can be and will be a powerhouse at baseball at some stage.
Yeah, it's great. That's great insight. And I was at the 2018 Women's World Cup and we lost to Japan 5-2. We ended up finishing 7th overall, which was the worst result the team has ever had. But we were 5-2 against a team who's won the last 6 World Cups. And we were close, but it was like, well, coming close is not winning.
Yeah.
So it's so hard to marry those two up. Yeah. So I love the way you're talking about the fact that, hey, we're building here, but we're not where we need to be yet, and we got to keep going. But it is exciting to watch. I'm pumped about the tournament coming up at the end of the year, and we'll quiz you about that a little bit later. But great insight into that. Moving back into the Aces, 23-24 season, a really good one for you personally. You came back. You probably had a down year for your standards in 2022. You played 36 of 40 games during the regular season last season. You had the most at-bats of any Aces player. You hit just under 300, so it was a really successful year, but then, again, didn't quite get the chocolates as a team. Talk to me about what it was like coming back last season to Melbourne and overall reflecting on how you did. And you can talk personally and the team if you want.
So, I made the move from Adelaide, which was my second move in the ABL, and came with Robbie, and it's nothing. I just had come off my fractured kneecap, and a lot of blame game, I should say, in myself. The year I was with the Angels, broke my kneecap the season just before coming to my first Aces. Came back, thought I was ready. Wasn't mentally as ready as I was physically. And then there's a lot of stuff with like living and stuff like that didn't work out. I guess how I saw it, and same thing, blamed the world, didn't enjoy, honestly, my time in Melbourne. Was counting down my days on like my contract, like when does this end? And then it was after the season, that first year, just like, I had to look at myself and, how I played and looked at, okay, was it actually that, or was it just me getting in my own way? And that's what it was. And it took probably 6 months to do that conversation and change it. Honestly, getting released from the Angels, on part of me, same thing, just blaming the world and blaming the situation and just not enjoying baseball anymore. So then I went and played indie ball before the season just gone, had the time of my life, came back and just had a different mindset. Like, went to enjoy. We got living right near the field, was more invested, went out of my way to do more things for the Aces, get to know more people around the Aces and my teammates. And I had the time of my life. I think it showed. I think a big thing last year, and that was me personally, now for the team, ABL's tough because you get a whole bunch of guys that never know each other, and you try and just like assemble a team and then try and win in 10 weeks. And it's like, that's tough. It's tough to do. If you get a couple bad eggs, you might as well just throw the whole season out of the way because, build a cancer, and by the end of it, that can happen. And I myself was one of them my first year. And so this year, I think we built a really good culture. I think we built it late, better than ever, which is why we made a nice push. I think if a few things go differently in those playoffs, that I think we end up on top, and everyone can say that, but that's just where I think. But I think we've done a really good job this year on, with the older players on the Aces, Werney, Deebs, Hubes, everyone else who's a part of it too, on like, hey, let's try and build what we have. We got Joey Steele coming back, we got Rutsky coming back, Birdie's coming back. Like, we got a lot of big pieces that we had last year that created a good environment and, got us to there, and, the playoff games against Adelaide, who won it, were, as we said, like, we out-hit them and lost the game. We out-hit them 9-2 and lost. So it's kind of impressive that you can do that. Get Kenty back, Chubby back, all other Aussies too. We got Melbourne, who probably make more of an impact this year. It's an exciting time for us because we know what's coming back. It's not like, hey, we're going to try and build with whatever. We're going to have other pieces, but the majority of the core is the same. And for me, that's exciting because we can kind of, from round one, just build off what we finished like. So by the time we come around to this year's coming up's playoffs, it's like we've been together for 2 years. And that's a big part. I was lucky enough to win 3 in Brisbane, and it was pretty much the same team from the first year. They won the year after I left to the 4th year. And Adelaide, have won 2, and a lot of it, when I left Adelaide, was like a lot of the same players, and they just built around that. And if you have a good core group and, everyone's invested and wants to go to the field, it makes a big difference. And I think, that's something that made it more enjoyable to play, so everyone plays better, and then brings guys like, Greg Bird, just carving up in Mexico, could easily have played win a ball over there, but wants to come back and wants to win. And I think it just shows what we're kind of building here. And it's not about just winning this year, it's about winning the next 10 years. Or building a program that, like, even when it's time for, me, Birdie, Robbie, Daryl, all those guys to hang it up, that the next kids coming through, like Kimmy, Declan Spears, like they know what it's like to win and know what it is, and they just keep it rolling.
So you mentioned Birdie. Exciting. I know we're close to signing him, and hopefully confirmed news of that comes through soon. But he was obviously a great part of the core. You talked about the core unit last year, and I'm sure played a big role in the clubhouse. But you also had the 34th Aussie to play MLB, so you were 35th. The 34th player debuted in the same ballpark as you 12 months prior, or pretty close to 12 months, and that was Lewis Thorpe. Mm-hmm. What was it like reconnecting with Lewis and having him in the clubhouse again on the mound?
Yeah, Thorpe. So I got lucky enough to come up through the Twins with Thorpe. My story being fresh into baseball, didn't know much. I didn't know Thorpe before I went to the Twins. Obviously Aussie, so you guys kind of gravitate to each other. But Thorpe was honestly a big part of, helped me survive through the minor league grind, and just kind of taking me under his wing. And if I needed something, I could go to him. He had a car. He'd always take us around or take us out to dinner, and kind of just made sure that we all kind of kept in touch as Aussies. And even if we're all in different leagues, just kind of kept us there. And so, been probably a year or so, and we were on the opening day roster together in 2020. So we'd ride to the field together. This is a guy that was rehabbing when I was in GCL. So we spent pretty much most days together. Then got to go to the big leagues and be a part of the team together as Aussies, which was pretty cool. And I don't think, from recognition, that there's been 2 Aussies on the same team on an opening day roster. So for us too, it was pretty cool to be a part of that. And then coming back here and just being in Australia, making an impact and seeing Thorpe just thrive, being back home in Melbourne. And I know he hasn't played the ABL for a while too, so getting that taste. And, I know he's talking about coming back too. I know he's just had a kid, so that obviously takes a lot of priority as well, and he's doing well in Mexico. So, I think it was a lot of fun playing with Thorpe and getting back to, his goofiness around the clubhouse, kicking the footy in the clubhouse, him and Robbie trying to break things. So, but no, it was really special to be able to go up to the big leagues and have Thorpe there, as well as come back and, him being a big part of the Aces here too.
So going back, obviously, with the Aces and looking back on the season that we've just had, against Adelaide, we found kind of was riding the momentum of the late season, as you said earlier. It was such a hard-fought series, and we just wasn't able to get there, just fell short. Was the feeling in the clubhouse afterwards that it was one that got away?
Oh, 100%, yeah. Probably hurt the most out of all the ones I've lost. You know, I lost the championship to Melbourne when I was in Adelaide, and that hurt too. But just, you know, that is honestly what like you play for, that series that we had against Adelaide. You know, it came down to the last game, and at any stage, if a team made an error, the other team just capitalised. And but as you said, like we left there defeated in the aspect of like we felt like we lost. It wasn't that we got beat, and you know, people can say what they say, but it felt like we lost it, especially that game too. You know, 9 hits to 2. If you know baseball, you usually should win that. So, but you know, we didn't. And they ended up winning. So we just got to build off it and just make sure, you know, we take priority of those games and make sure that, you know, we finish the job. You know, not do half of it, finish it off. And I think that's gonna, you know, for us, the main goal is starting that in week 1. So, and building that so that by the time we're not kind of just getting into it as the season's finishing, we're building up each week to make sure that we're full steam when it's go time.
Good segue, because my next question was going to be talk to us a little bit about the coming season and the preparation, because most of the players who sort of make up probably a majority of the numbers are overseas, whether they're in Mexico or in the US playing indie ball or playing, you know, minor league baseball. What are you doing, and what are your mates doing who are part of the Aces at the moment back in Oz in the very cold Melbourne winter? Talk us through what's happening at the moment.
So majority of the guys are playing. Daryl just came back, but we're playing winter ball here when it's not raining. But every Monday we go to Altona and we hit and have a catch just to kind of stay in touch and, you know, stay moving. Berkey's got the World Cup for the under-23s coming up. Mitchie Ellis is coming back pitching. Gibbo's pitching winter ball. Beatty's pitching winter ball. I think Johnny Kennedy's starting to come back pitching as well. So, like, everyone's starting to kind of get back in the flow of things. They Shannis and Z run the Baseball Vic Select program out there. So, like, last week was my first week joining that with the, you know, young prospects coming up, and actually just doing that as a training session, not only, you know, to help me and keep the fielding and that kind of getting back into the groove of things, but to also run around with the young bucks and kind of, you know, hopefully show them how we train and, you know, what it's like for us. So I think Berkey's going to join in next week. Daryl's out there hitting with us. Mitchie Ellis is out there. He's still hitting because he's hitting in winter ball, but he's throwing bullpens and that as well. So I think, you know, we're starting a lot earlier than, I guess, usually, from my understanding from a lot of what the guys saying, and just kind of, as I said, like, that part of that is just being around each other. So it's not just like, oh, hey, season's here, let's get ready. And, you know, I know a lot of guys are over there and they're playing every day, so, you know, they're staying ready, and they're probably more on the end of their season waiting for a little break to then recharge for the season. So but that's what we got going on.
Yeah, cool. I want to shout out to Deebs as well. Just had some surgery done, and I know he's on the road to recovery. Hopefully he's recovering in Queensland and not in Melbourne, because I've had a few knee injuries and the cold weather does not help. So shout out to Deebs. I've obviously read quite a bit about you and followed your journey a little bit. I know he was one of the reasons you ended up in Melbourne. Is he still a big part of what you do, and do you chat with him pretty regularly? Or tell us about that relationship.
So I call him Dad because he's like one of my dads. Deebs has been around pretty much since I came into baseball. My agent through Australia, Brett Cedarblade, who played a while ago. I won't say too long ago, so I don't want to make him feel old. Sorry, brother. But was good friends with Deebs and introduced me to Deebs. And when I was a shortstop coming up, and right before the Nationals, AYC they call it now, I was still playing both softball and that, so I'd make a lot of errors. And then he took me for an hour. I think it was like an hour. He'd probably say like 4 hours because Steve's like to over-exaggerate. And just helped me with my fixing, and then I went fielding, and then I went away, and I won the Gold Glove. So, you know, he thinks that's his Gold Glove. But ever since then, he's looked out for me. I always give him a little bit of stick for, never signed me. So I still won't. Deebs, thanks. But yeah, he is a big part. Every year he kept trying to get me to come to Melbourne. And, he's a big part of the reason why I wanted to stay too, because I know he's involved a lot, not just not even to benefit himself, just because he loves it. And, he thinks that there is something special here, and he says he doesn't. It's getting a bit much for him, but he loves it. He lives for it too. We speak probably twice a week, 3. I spoke to him yesterday. Twice I called him. And he's coming down to like get everyone on the same page, and I think that's a big thing this year. Is like we're getting on the same page early, and trying to get things going. But yeah, good old Deebs, he's like dad. That's what I call him. I say, hey dad, come on. And then playing with his sons Jai, and then helping out with Ricky. I always say every time we're in the cage together, it's like my dad. It's like, dude, come on. He's like, do this. Thanks, Steve. So, but love him to death, and I'm glad he's a part of it and looking after us this year, and making sure we don't fall too off track.
Yeah, that's really cool. And as I said, shout out to Deebs. If he didn't love it, he wouldn't come down. I mean, he doesn't really need to. No. He's done everything in his career, and obviously doing great stuff with the Dodgers. So, a long-serving part of the organisation, and I know is so valued by everybody there. And it's great to hear you talk about that as a player.
So you mentioned earlier in regards to the preseason and the catch-ups on the Monday in July. But what's the feeling like chatting with the boys about this upcoming 24-25 season?
I think it's like redemption. I think it still hurts those last games that we spoke about last year, that it's kind of made everyone be like, that seeing Adelaide win too, like that was ours. And is kind of why I think everyone's bought back in so early, and why guys stayed. I know a lot of guys how it works in the ABL. Like a lot of teams, we were a top team and want to, try and take some of the better players or younger players and, use them to build. And I think showing all the guys re-signing and wanting to come back and wanting to push and, win that thing is just shows that like how much it hurt last year, just getting so close and not, finishing the job. So I think, I think it's redemption year, if I had to say, and time to show everyone. Everyone I think's been waiting with our lineup and things. I think they got a bit of a taste of what it can do last year, but I think it's been very inconsistent in our eyes, and you see it by like us finishing 4th or just scraping in and that. And so I think this year it's just showing how dominant we can be and doing it from the start and not just trying to flick it on towards the end.
Yeah. Exciting times, and that leads me to my next question, is talking more about the organisation. And of course you've played at all levels, and even at the top level there's a bunch of different people who contribute to make things happen. You've got obviously Ralphie leading the way, who's super committed to finding ways to get the best players and the best group of people around you. What is it like, getting to know the people? You've got the Deebs and then all the other coaching staff, of course, but Mick and Surly and Mal and Annie and Hubes. Like, is it creating those relationships important to you? And tell us sort of what it's been like. And I have to mention Rog, because he probably doesn't get the credit he deserves, but he does all the jobs, often the crap jobs. So a big shout out to Rog. But just talk us through the org as a whole and sort of how you've created those relationships.
Yeah, definitely. I think, as we said, like I think the first year was, as I said, in my eyes, a bit of a shit show. And I think it was because there was such a disconnect from a lot of those people who have a big role year round, not just during the season, to the players that come in. And I think last year, and talk to anyone, like it was like a big family. And to me, I go back to it in Brisbane, they won 4, I won 3. And it was like that. It was like, no matter if you were in the canteen or that, like after games, you'd come around and be a part of it. And last year, like I felt like a lot more people we usually have like a drink or so underneath the stadium all together and everyone, and just, going up to talking to everyone, but then staying in contact after the season too. And I think just, I just said, like, Annie's sorting out the Father's Day stuff, and, we've got some stuff that the players are helping her with, and she, just being able to talk instead of like, oh, I'll go through Mel to do this, just like, having that relationship where we can go talk to, Mick or Annie or Rog or Mel, and just through the players, I think that just shows like it's more of a family than just a work or just a job. Like, oh, you got to go talk to Hubes to talk to here and this. It's like we have those relationships where like I'll go talk to them personally and sort that kind of thing out. And I think that's a big part of, as I said, towards the end, and you got to start somewhere and grow somewhere. And I think that's what we've been growing, like a big family environment. And then it also, for me, brings people in because they see it's a big family environment. They want to come and, everyone's on the same page and everything flows a lot better. And back to, Rog, he's an absolute legend, He will do absolutely anything and go out. He'll drive from here to Perth to pick up a player if he had to. And, you don't get that much anymore. And I know he's been in a lot of tough situations, me changing walkouts and stuff like that. But he comes back every day, without complaining, probably to someone else, but not us. And just loves being around it and loves being a part. And, he is one of us. He might not be on the field playing just as well as all the other people there too. They do all the hard stuff. All we got to do is go play the game. So, and I think that is a big thing from, Birdie coming in last year, who's been there for 2 months, and creating those relationships as well. Just shows like he's someone that you want to bring back and someone who you want a part of the core. And then it goes down to, we have a lot of Aussies on the team too, which, makes it a lot easier to get a couple of Aussies in there, makes it a bit more enjoyable than too many Americans. And Birdie, we class as an Aussie now anyway too. So, but Joey Steele, Rutsky and all that, same thing. They got those relationships with those people that you don't think, or they don't necessarily have to have them because they just come in to play their winter season and then head off. But they make effort to do that. And I think, it is a huge part in the game and on the success of where the organisation wants to go.
Awesome. What's next for you? I mean, at the moment, obviously, big preparations, Aces season coming up. You're playing winter ball when it's not raining with Monty. You've just signed on to play with Melbourne Baseball Club in the summer. Really cool stuff sort of coming up for you. But what's next for you? Do you have aspirations to go back to the US? Are you looking to get signed again? Tell the people listening sort of what you're up to and where you think you'd like to be.
Yeah, definitely. My whole thing was going to go back to indie ball this year and, look at re-signing somewhere, Japan, Taiwan, Mexico. It was just kind of getting after the year before in the States, not having the best year and, as I said, playing the blame game and then coming back having a good ABL and kind of finding myself again. So I think this year just gone was, a good part of wanting to show people that. And now obviously, outcomes with visa stuff, I wasn't able to do that. So I think getting ready for Premier 12 is the big one. Using the winter games to keep playing. Got Premier 12, focus on, doing well in the ABL. And then kind of, I guess, reassessing after that. And, if something comes up, I'll love to keep playing. You never say you wouldn't want to play in the big leagues again. But, if career path takes me to Japan or type Korea or something, I'd love to do that as well. I love playing in those countries. So if I get the opportunity to do that, I think I would. I honestly think now, and it's easy to say because, you want to sound up yourself, but I feel that I'm a lot better physically and mentally as a player now at 27 than I was when I was in the big leagues. I started baseball late, so I had to figure out a lot on the way. But now just being around it more, like the game slowed down a lot more for me now, and I think just understanding and being kind of one step ahead. Obviously some games, it still creeps up on you, but I'm able to figure out ways to slow it down, and I think that's something that, you learn with age. But that why I feel better now than I have in the past. So it's just getting out there and, being able to show it. And now I'm showing it at Monty, and then Melbourne, I'll, help out with the juniors while I'm here. Something I haven't really dove into being with the Aces as much. So creating that relationship, and then, some midweek games. If I'm healthy, I'll play down at Melbourne too. And we got Glendenning and Meady out there too. So just, giving back and then helping push that junior level. So as we said, that organisation of the Aces grows once I'm either doing Deebs' job, annoying people on the bench, So, but that's me right now. Just still trying to live the dream and win baseball games, and wherever it takes me, it takes me. But yeah, Premier 12 is probably the next thing in mind coming up.
Brilliant. There'll be a lot of Melbourne Aces, hopefully a lot of them listening to this chat. Is there anything any shout outs you want to give to anyone who's watching?
Got to give one to my girlfriend. So, hey, Dal. Sorry I haven't been home in nearly a year. So, sorry about the visa. But no, I just think we had a really great season because of the fans last year as well. Like, I know it's tough to get out to Altona. It's a tough drive. Melbourne traffic doesn't help with that. But I think, it's going to be where we left off is kind of what we're building on. So, I think the start of the year is going to be a lot of fun. I think we had a lot of fun at the ballpark. It was a lot of fun playing in fans, especially I felt like last summer was kind of not the best weather we've had in a summer either. So just building, we still had fans coming out, showing love every game. And I think just, thank you guys for that. And let's keep building on it. Let's have those Friday night sellouts like we do Saturday, Sundays. I think it was just an exciting time. And I think, the players are excited to get back out there, meet the kids, meet the fans, and just keep building on those because they're relationships as well that make a big part of the ABL. That, we have the same guys coming back. So the kids who enjoyed, Mitchie Ellis, Thorpe, Robbie, myself, Daryl, Berkey, Chubby, all the, Aussie guys, they can still have those relationships and kind of, get to see that even their local players play at that Aces level. So, thanks for them coming out last year, and I look forward to seeing everyone again this year.
The fans are what make it all work, and without them, nothing had happened. Before we finish up, better than anyone, particularly independent league, ABL, Brisbane, Adelaide, and now in Melbourne, the importance of having supporters on board for the organisations. And Light and Easy have been a big supporter of the Aces for a few years. I've come across this photo, and you did a bit of a shoot with some of the boys a couple of weeks ago. I want to know how fun was it to be out shooting with them, but what's the meal of choice? And is there a bit of a fight after games to try and get your hands on the number one flavour, or tell us about that?
Yeah. This is so we've had Light and Easy since I've been there. Obviously, they've done an incredible job sponsoring us and helping us out. But it was really good to actually meet a lot more people behind the scenes of like the sponsorship. Gabby, who was there, who's actually from Brizzy as well, who looked after us while we were there, did such a great job and, made it easy for us to just go and, look pretty, I guess you try and say, and, help work with us on, getting more of the meals that we like, because sometimes you might get a salad and, not trying to say I'm a salad dodger, but I'll try and dodge it as much as I can. And showing us like the other options that there are and, working with us to, help fuel us to, be better out in the field and promote. They've got a lot of good things coming with they're sponsoring the women's NRL and stuff like that. And they're just trying to build on the professional side as well as, the public side. And I think that I had a blast. We got to do it was kind of like a movie, shooting a movie, basically with all the cameras and stuff like that. Even got to do some makeup. We got some makeup done. So, probably took a while for us mob that we had. But I think Gabby and, Mel setting it up as well, just do such a great job with keeping us, in between games fed. And chicken tenders was the biggest one, I think, that we all loved. And if you got in there like a minute late, they were all gone. It was like a fight to get off the field to get the chicken tenders. But I had, what did I have there? There was a spaghetti bog that was there too. That was really good. But like even then, there's 250 different, items you can get on the menu. So, I think we kind of limited ourselves to the chicken tenders. So I'm looking forward to this season and trying a lot of the new ones, and then just keep the relationship going. And now we've got that more better connection, I'd say, with them. I feel like it can help us and then also help them promote it more as well. So I had a blast. I know the boys did. And yeah, look forward to working with them going forward.
A big shout out to Light and Easy, long-time supporters of the Aces. And there is a special opportunity for Aces fans. So if you use the code on the screen, Aces Base, jump on board, your first delivery, save 30%. So massive thank you. And a massive thank you to you for giving up your time. You know, I know you've got a lot going on in your life, so to come in and talk to us, but really to talk to the fans about what you're doing and your excitement. I mean, it's really clear that you're pretty pumped about the season to come. Aces fans should be really excited, and I'm sure they are when they listen to this, but all the best for the rest of the year, and particularly in the Premier 12, but on the field for the Aces, Woodsy and I'll see you out at the stadium.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me, and, you know, I've had a blast and look forward to seeing a bunch of the boys and coming on during the season, and hopefully they tell all the good stories about me, and then can't wait to hear Robbie's Barbie girl story from his side. But thank you guys.
Thanks, mate.